You guys might be thinking about going on a cruise, but you can't find anybody to go with you. I'll tell you what, go by yourself. That's right, go by yourself. Stay tuned, guys. I'm going to tell you about a time recently when I went on a cruise by myself solo without anybody at all. I'm going to talk to you guys about how cool it was, how fun it was, how adventure it was. Stay tuned, guys. I'll be right back here in a second to tell you guys all about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? That's right. You guys know who I am. I am Andre. I'm just being stupid here. I'm playing with my Rode podcaster, Andre Reese.biz. All right, I promise you guys that's the last time. That's right, guys. Andre Reese.biz. Not only do I do taxes, I do a whole bunch of other stuff. That's right. You guys know I sell online. I sell on eBay. I've sold on other platforms before in the past, like Amazon, Poshmark, Mercari, all that good stuff. Not only do I do taxes, I also take care of bookkeeping, accounting. If you haven't filed your taxes in a while, I got your back. I can get you guys up to speed, get you current, and get you back on track for sure. And most importantly, as you guys know, I was born with a magnificent gift. I promise that's really the last time. I was born with a magnificent gift. Not only do I see business opportunities, I see tax deductions everywhere I look. That's right. Everywhere I look, I see tax deductions and business opportunities, and I'm more than happy to share those with you guys for sure. And not everybody was born with this gift. Most people don't have it. I am a unique individual. So I'll tell you what, I want to be able to help you out. I want to get you back on the track. Be sure to visit me at andrereese.biz and book a consultation. $195 for about an hour is all it costs for us to sit down and go through your financial information regarding your taxes, your business. If you're thinking about starting a business, I can help you guys get that stuff all up to speed. $195, that's all it's going to cost you guys. And remember, these conversations that we have here are only for educational purposes. That's right, on educational purposes only. I am not an attorney, never played one on television. I'm not a financial advisor that you can rely upon the information. This stuff we're talking about here is just educational purposes only. If you want to get a more detailed look and guidance on what's going on in your life, like I said, go ahead and book a consultation. Andre Reese.biz. And most importantly, as I wrap up this section right here, be sure to stay tuned to the end. Folks love to hear about the topic I'm talking about and how that can be tied back to a business opportunity or tax deductions as it relates to, going on solo cruises. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Let's jump right into this conversation here. You guys probably are intrigued and thinking, how in the world could somebody go on a cruise by themselves? You may want to go on a cruise. You may be thinking about going on a cruise. You may be in a relationship with somebody and you guys have a cruise booked. The relationship ends and you're like, well, I got to end the cruise because I'm not going to go on a cruise by myself. So this whole idea here, this whole conversation we're going to have here is designed to let you guys know how I went on a cruise by myself and how it was. And so I'll go ahead and, spoiler alert right now. I went on a cruise solo by myself and I had an epic time and I had an epic adventure. It was incredible. I would do it again, and I would recommend highly to anybody to go consider doing a solo cruise. If you're, for whatever reason, you can't go with somebody else, or you want to just go have some downtime and be by yourself. Now, before we kind of go on, there is a distinction here with using the word solo cruiser. So you can be, there's people that are single. You're not in a committed relationship. You may be out there in the streets doing your thing or whatever, but you're not in a Facebook official relationship. So you're considered to be single. You can even stretch even further. If you're not married yet to somebody, you're considered to be single. But for our purposes here, single means you're not in a relationship with anybody at all. You can be a solo traveler and be single. You can also be a solo traveler and be in a relationship. So what we're talking about here is making a choice to travel regardless of your marital status or your relationship status, and deciding to go on vacation by yourself. That's what the cruise industry calls a solo traveler. So you can, like I said, you can be in a relationship, married, you can not be married, you can be in a committed relationship, not committed relationship. The fact that you go on a cruise or any type of adventure by yourself means that you're a solo traveler. So we got that out the way. So let me talk about my trip I went on. This was earlier this year. As you guys know, I do tax season. In California this year is a little crazy because of the atmospheric rivers that we received. I think we got 12 or 13, maybe even more than that. They ended up pushing the tax filing deadline out to October, but the rest of the country was pretty much had to still file. And so what I typically do is after tax season's over in April, I usually take off and go on vacation. So I went ahead and planned a cruise. I don't know. I think it was probably last year. I think it was to go this April, right after tax season was over with. And so this was a 4-day cruise on Royal Caribbean. And I live in San Francisco Bay Area, and this is out of LA. So I figured it'd be an easy jaunt to get down there. I can actually kind of go. So typically, if you want to go on a cruise, and I always advise this to anybody, if you're going to go any great distance, you want to try to fly into your cruise port at least the day before. That way, if anything happens at the airport, once the cruise ship loads up, 4:30 comes, they toot the horn and they're gone. If you're not there at the port, you're SOL. The cruise ship is gone, your money is gone. Unless you find a way to get to the next port to get on the ship, you're pretty much SOL and out of your money. So flying out of LA, or flying down to LA, that morning, I decided, because it was so close, and the first flight out of San Francisco was at 6 a.m. So I figured I can leave on a 6 a.m. flight, and regardless of what happened that day, I would be able to make it down to LA. And if something went haywire, crazy, I can turn around and jump in my car and drive down there. I would have plenty of time to be able to make it to the port, and it would all be good. So I had a backup plan B. So if anything happened, I was going to be fine. So of course, when you have a plan B or plan C, plan A always works. That's just the way the universe works. That's just the way karma works, all that kind of stuff. So I had, like I said, booked a cruise to go down to LA, out of LA, and it was going to go for 4 days, 4 nights. So it left on Monday and it came back on Friday. So cruise math, that's like 5 days, but really it's like 4 because you leave halfway through the first day. And then we were going to go the first day out of LA, we were going to be at sea. And so if you guys are familiar with Los Angeles and Catalina Island, you can probably shoot a rocket from LA and hit Catalina Island. So the first night we just went out in a circle and just went around and around and around and around all night long. At some points, I think we were going about 2 or 3 knots an hour. So then once the next day was over with, we're still circling out in the ocean. The following day is when we hit Catalina Island. We finally went ahead and docked, and so the ship that I was on was the Navigator of the Sea. Then after we ended up going to Catalina Island, we ended up going to Ensenada the next day. Then we ended up making it back, of course, Friday morning back to the port of LA. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. We talked about solo distinction. We also talked about the cruise that I went on here. And then so let's jump right into it. So making a decision to go on the cruise solo, it's not something you can, in my mind, if you're used to traveling all the time by yourself, you're cool. But reason why you're probably watching this video is because it's the first time it may happen and you're considering if you should really do it. So there is some preparation that's involved in traveling solo. And I'll kind of tell you guys here what I ended up doing. So when you do travel solo, you have to, in advance, put some mind energy into thinking about how you want your cruise to be, because it's on you. So if you're cruising with other folks, if there's always a planner in the group that has everything planned out, all you got to do is just stand there and follow everybody else, and everything's taken care of. When you're on a solo cruise, you're by yourself. So you're responsible, 100% accountable for your happiness and for how you feel about your cruise. So you have to think about things in advance and at least plan. So you have to really decide what you want to do. What do you want your cruise to be about? Do you want to be all up in the cruise streets, hanging out with folks? Do you want to be, trying to look for people that you can potentially date? Or do you want to just lay low? Do you want to read a book? Do you want to, go on adventures, on the excursions? You have to decide in advance kind of what you want to do. So what I did, I chose a combination because I was coming off tax season. I wanted to be able to chill out and relax, but I also wanted to be able to enjoy where we were going. And then I also wanted to be able to go on some of the excursions and check out, Catalina Island as well as Ensenada. Now, I've been there before in the past, so I wasn't really necessarily tripping too much on things, but I wanted to at least be able to get off the boat and then kind of decide what I want to do. So in advance, I chose 2 excursions. I had been to Catalina before, like I said. I chose to do a golf cart where you rent the golf cart for a few hours. I think it's 2 hours or something. You can go all over the island. You don't do that through the cruise line, but I looked on Catalina and I saw that there were some places that you can go. So I made note of that. When I got off the ship, I can go to the spots to be able to get the golf cart and take off. And then I looked at the different excursions that were happening down in Ensenada. I really wasn't interested in any of them for the most part. They had wine tasting, tequila tasting, that type of stuff. It was cool. Wasn't tripping on that. But they had La Bufadora, which was the blowhole. I've been there once before. I said, well, you know what? Let me just go out there and check it out again. So that's what I decided to do. So I went ahead and went on to the app and booked that. And so then the other thing you got to think about is when you're on the ship, what do you want to do besides, the excursions? The excursion is only a small part of it. Do you want to rest? Do you want to chill? Do you want to look at the ocean? Do you want to swim? So you have to kind of think about those things that you want to do. And then, of course, you want to bring clothing that's appropriate for those things that you want to do. So if you want to go out and have some nightlife at night, you're going to want to make sure you have some cool clothes. For guys, a shiny shirt. Ladies, something with some sequins on it, maybe that you can, stand out when the lights are flashing or whatever, whatever it is you want to do. If you want to swim, you got to make sure you bring your swimsuit. If you want to just, they got a gym on board too. If you want to go to the gym, you got to make sure you have gym clothes that you're going to be able to wear, gloves if you lift with those, whatever it might be. So you want to kind of think through all those different things. And then most importantly, like they say, if it doesn't happen on social media, it never happened at all. If you're hanging out, you're dating somebody, and you've been dating them for like 6 months and they have not made you Facebook official, you ain't in a relationship at all. So that's the same thing with everything else. So if you're not on vacation unless you take at least a selfie and put it on Facebook or Instagram, I said it. So you got to think about, normally people get tired of seeing selfies. I mean, it's what people do, but you got to see if there's a creative way that you can actually take pictures on your adventure. So what I ended up doing, I ended up going on Amazon and I bought a tripod, and it had a remote control. And so this tripod has 3 legs on it. You can extend it up to like 60 inches. You can put your phone on it. And then so there was a lot of times where I took pictures where I set the tripod up and I made sure I was cool with the shot, stood in it, used my remote control to take pictures. So you want to kind of think about those things in advance, not necessarily to put them on social media, but you want to be able to capture yourself in the environment that you're in. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why we go to travel, is because we want to see something different. Then when we take a picture of these things, later on, we want to relive those memories of what we enjoyed inside of our head. So if everything you're doing is a selfie, you're not necessarily getting all the background behind you. So you want to kind of think about types of equipment you may need to be able to capture your vacation, accordingly. And then, the other thing you may want to do is you may want to read books. You want to listen to music. You may want to bring a speaker for your room. You may want to have, different things that are that you may potentially need depending on what you decide you want to do. You just want to think through those things and make sure you end up bringing those for the trip. And then the other thing you got to do too to kind of prepare is a week or two before, I would recommend, if you're not in the mode of socializing and talking to strangers, it's a gift. And it's it's something that's learnable. So what you want to do at least 2 weeks before is, when you're out and about, start talking to strangers. So if you're in the grocery store, you want to talk to the person standing behind you and be like, oh, you're at Trader Joe's. You're like, oh, wow, I've never tried those chips before. How are they? They're going to be like, I don't know. I've never tried them before either. So you're like, okay, cool. Or they'll be like, these are the best chips in the world. And like, well, why? And then they'll be like, oh man, if you take the chips and you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, they're going to be epic. And you can say, you know what? You have sold me. Next time I come in, I'm going to grab these chips, you know? And so you just want to, wherever you are, at the gas station, you're standing at the pump, the person across from you, you can talk to them about their car they have, or how the gas prices are going down or coming up, whatever you want to do. So if you're in the, and so that can be anywhere you are. If you're on public transportation, riding on a train or something, you can talk to the person sitting next to you that's looking at a book. Oh, well, I've heard about this book before. How do you like it? And just shut the hell up and let the people talk. So you want to definitely practice doing that in advance, and that'll get you in the mind mode of being able to try to socialize on the trip for sure. You know, and so like, and then the other thing you want to do is after you've done all this stuff, once you land on the ship or before you get on the ship, they start to release the different things that are going to be happening on the ship, you know, the different shows, the different fun things that are happening. You want to also go through the app and try to line up your day based upon things that you think are kind of cool. You don't necessarily have to go do all those things, but you want to at least take the time to record, to at least, you know, set a bookmark. That way you're able to go back later on and do those things. Now, on the cruise, overall, what did I do as a solo cruiser? Like I said, my main goal was to relax, and that's what I did. And as I was relaxing, I'm out and about, I'm doing my thing, I had a lot of conversations with couples, and I had conversations with the staff. And one of the things I noticed is the staff has had sensitivity training, and they're able to easily identify solo travelers. And so I had a number of staff in the dining room and around the ship that asked me, hey, are you traveling solo? They didn't say you're traveling by yourself. They said, are you a solo traveler? I was like, oh yeah, how'd you know? They was like, oh yeah, I've seen you around the ship and I didn't notice that you were with anybody at all. And they'd start talking to you. And so I had a lot of conversations with folks about their homeland, what they did back at home, their family, their friends, how long they've been in their contract. I think one point I talked to one guy that I was booking a future cruise. We had like an hour conversation, and I was like, wow. And I came back later on and gave him a nice tip and thanked him for, you know, taking the time to help me and all that. And then I had another long conversation with another lady that was from South Africa, and she had, she was on the cruise and she was missing her family, but she was trying to save money. That way she can go back and become an airline pilot. And so I ended up giving her a nice a tip at the end of the cruise to help her towards her goal. Now, was I scammed? Who cares? You know, but at least I did something nice and kind for the people. So like I said, there's plenty of conversations to be had all over the ship by other couples, other individuals, as well as the staff, you know, so definitely do that. And then the other thing I wanted to do, I wanted to be entertained. So I wanted to go to the different shows they had at night, the comedy shows, the ice skating shows. I did all that type of stuff. You know, and so I had a lot of fun, you know, just going. I just went there, showed up, found a seat where I wanted to sit and sat down, watched the show, clapped my hands and got up and decided if I wanted to still hang out and go around or get something to snack on or whatever, or go back to my room because I was tired. So there was no pressure there. And of course I wanted to explore and I wanted to see. I wanted to get off the ship. I wanted to go on excursions. I wanted to check things out that I've seen before to see how much they've changed or try to experience some new stuff. And the other thing I really wanted to do was like I said, I wanted to just relax. So I spent a lot of my time where I wasn't doing something that was on the calendar, sitting in the atrium, just looking out the window. And so I was right by the hot tub. There was all kinds of, at one point they even had some dudes that were shooting like a rap video. So, and the ladies were in there twerking, doing their thing. And I was just looking out the front window. I held my camera up. I was filming what was going on behind me. But I spent the majority of my time just kind of sitting there chilling, you know, and then I would interact with folks wherever I was. So if I'm standing in line, if I'm walking through the hallways, if I'm going up and down the steps, you know, and somebody's, you know, I'm starting at the bottom and I'm going up 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 flights of steps and they're like right there with me. I talk to those people and have a conversation and we kind of laugh about what was going on. And I made a point to be open to anybody that wanted to talk, you know, so, and that's what I did. And I'll tell you what, a carefully placed joke at the right time can go a long way as an icebreaker to allow you to, you know, have conversations with folks. And so I always encourage you to continuously work on your jokes for sure. And then after the cruise ship was over, the time on the ship, I ended up taking a taxi back to the airport, and I rode with two ladies that are from Colombia. And no, they're from Panama. I take that back. And they're nicest ladies, and we talked about different cruises and different things that were going on. And so it was probably about 35, 40 minutes before we got back to the airport and I got out. So I was still in that mode of interacting and being kind and friendly. And in the end, they said they come to San Francisco every once in a while. I gave them my card and I said, if you guys ever come out this way, let me know. And maybe we can meet up and we can go to the city and have some dinner or something like that. You know, so whether that happens or not, I was just in that mode. So in the end, overall, I had an epic time, you know, and overall, everything that I did. Now, let's talk some more about some specific stuff. Now, when it comes to nightlife, how are you going to deal with that as being a solo traveler? So there's shows every night. You can decide you want to go to those or not. And I don't encourage you just to go back to your room and become a hermit. Get out and go do some stuff and go check things out. You can easily go sit down. And I didn't necessarily interact with folks when I was at the venues. I may have said hi to people as I walked past them to sit down, but I didn't really have any long, meaningful conversations at all, you know. And but I still went to go get entertained, and I enjoyed the shows. They also have every night. You're going to find in the what do they call it? The newsletter for the ship. They always have these unhosted single or solo traveler meetups. You can always go to those and meet other solo travelers. If that's what you're interested in. And then they also have live music scattered throughout the ship. You can easily go into a place, sit down at a table, and get a drink and then just sit there for a long time and listen to the music. Other folks will come and go. You can have conversations with those folks. I didn't do any of that at all. Wasn't necessarily really interested in even doing the solo passenger meetup. And, you know, like I said, I went to the main show every night, but a lot of times I was tired. So once 10 o'clock, once you get over, like I said, you get over 50 years old, once 10 o'clock hits, and I have a tendency to wake up early in the morning, you start getting sleepy. So I would stay up to about 10 o'clock at night, and then I'd end up working my way back to the room, and I'd go to sleep. I wake up early the next morning, and I'd be at the gym first thing, kind of like doing my thing there. So I had a nice little cycle of what I was doing. And so the other fearful thing that may happen is, what do you do about dinner? So the whole idea is when you go on the cruise, you're going to have a dining table of 2 people, or it can 10 or 12. They can be even larger than that. What do you do? So I didn't go eat in the main dining room any of the nights. You know, I don't think I had enough nerve to try to do that. I could have, but I decided not to. So what I ended up doing was I ended up just going to the Windjammer. The Windjammer food mimics what they have in the main dining room anyway. Plus there's a lot more variety. And I would just go there and find a table and go get my food and then make a couple rounds and eat. And then I always end up talking with the staff. You know, they'd always come over and they'd talk. Sometimes I'd talk to some of the people that were next to me at the next table. So I didn't necessarily go sit by myself. I sat in an area where there were other people around me, a table away. That way, if a conversation started, I felt like talking, I can easily talk to folks. And when you're on a cruise ship, you can easily have conversations with folks just by saying, how many cruises have you been on? Folks are either going to say one or a bunch or a few. And so you can always use that as a basis of your conversation. You can talk about how many cruises you've been on, where you've gone, which ones you recommend. You can ask them about what cruises they recommend, what they think about this ship. Have they ever been on the ship before? Blah, 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 blah. And then those conversations can just go on and on and on and on and on. And then the thing too, with me, which was somewhat, I'm an intermittent faster. I've been doing that since I think December. I've done it before in the past, but I've been doing it again since December 31st. So we're about 6 months into it. I've lost about, I think, 33 pounds or so. And what I do now is I just eat during a small window every day. I eat between the hours of 4 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And so on the cruise ship, I made exceptions. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead, and I don't want to miss out on breakfast and lunch and only have dinner, but I can sacrifice breakfast and only eat lunch and dinner. So I kind of adjusted my schedule. I started to eat somewhere around 2. I would go get some food and have some light snacks, and then I would wait until dinner, and I'd have dinner like around 6 o'clock, go to the Windjammer is what I kind of did. That was a deal I made with myself. And as not necessarily a punishment, but as a mitigating factor, I said, you know what, on the ship, I will not take the elevator anywhere. So I didn't. So all I did was take the steps. When I got on the ship, getting up to my room, getting down to the top floor, like 11, 12, 13, whatever it was, to get off the ship to go down to 2 or 3 at the bottom, all I did was take the steps the whole entire time. So that helped mitigate that. Plus, I also got up every morning and went to the gym first thing and worked out. And so that allowed me to get my day started. I didn't eat anything going to the gym, which I typically don't do when I work out. So I was burning on the fat I already had in my body, which helped compensate for the extra food that I was eating. And then I ate snacks. I had cookies, I had ice cream, I ate whatever I wanted to eat at the Windjammer. So I just kind of did those things there for my dinner options. But like I said, I tried to just talk and interact with folks as I was inside of eating. And so when it came to excursions, what happened there? When I went on the Catalina excursion, I went and rented a golf cart. I went by myself, and I didn't try to, meet up with anybody and say, hey, you want to share a golf cart? I went around the island, checked it out. I went to go eat down at the, there's a fisherman's like grotto down at the end of the pier. I ate there, had some fish sticks and stuff. They were really, really good. And then, like I said, I made my way back to the ship. And when I was on the tender, I would talk to folks. When I was standing in line, I would talk to folks, make jokes or whatever, ask people what they thought about the island, if they've ever been there before, where they're from, that type of stuff. And then another person was talking a lot about how there's nothing wrong with eavesdropping other people's conversations and then jumping in. It's just, everybody's there to have a good time. And so that was happening quite a bit. I remember some folks were talking about the snow melt where they're from and what's coming this summer. So you kind of jump in there and talk about those kind of things. So I had a great time all the way around. And then when there's a lot of photos that I ended up taking around Catalina by myself on some of the overlooks. And also there was a cave structure that was there and down at the pier. By me having my little tripod set up, that it was remote, that was portable, I was able to do all that stuff really, really easy. So I kind of already had thought through that process. And folks had asked me before, afterwards, they're like, who was taking all these pictures of you? I was like, I did it myself. So you have to just think through all these things, and make sure you bring the equipment that's going to be able to work for you. The other thing I did was I went to La Bufadora. It was a long ride, about 2 hours out there, and we stopped to do traditional dance type of thing. That was cool. And in the coach, I talked to folks that were around me. There were a couple sisters that were sitting in front. And when I was going back and forth through the market, I was talking to the different people who were there. When I ended up stopping to get something to eat, I talked to the guys that were there. They were cool. So I just interacted the whole way. And like I said before, you have to take the time to realize that you're by yourself. You have to be careful with your safety and be aware of your surroundings. So when I got off the ship, or when I got off the boat at the in Ensenada, not the boat, but the coach, the first thing I did was I took a picture of where they parked the bus. And I took pictures of where the bus was in relationship to the mountains and the hills that were around me. That way, if I got lost, I can get myself back there. Then I also talked to the bus driver and said, hey, yo, are you going to be right here? Or are you going to move? He said, I'm not moving at all. Cool. And so I was very cautious and aware of the timing and everything. But when I got back to the end of once I went and looked at the La Bufadora and made it back, I got lost. I couldn't find the bus. And so I had to pull out my pictures and kind of retrace my steps, and I found my way back. So that was like the only point during this adventure that I had a little bit of fear, because I knew the bus was going to be leaving like in 20 minutes and I couldn't find it. So like I said, take the time to be aware of your surroundings and where you are, and you should be, good to go. And then from there, what else? Talked about the excursions. I met a lot of folks and talked to them, had conversations, and I think that's probably, well, actually a couple more things here. There's a way that you have to try to engage with folks while you're on the cruise. So, like I said, a lot of the staff is trained to spot solo travelers. So when they talk to you, be very friendly, talk to them. Other staff will see that you're solo. They'll come talk to you as well. You know, when you're around folks, always smile, always say hi, make eye contact with folks. And then it's a ship. There's only so many people on there. There's only so many places you can go. You're going to see the same people over and over and over. When you see them over and over and over, always say hi to them. You can even say something catchy like, you guys follow me around? Because everywhere I go, there you are. And wherever I am, there you are. So people get a laugh about that type of stuff. So it's really easy to engage with folks, you know. And then like I said, before, always ask folks how many cruises they've been on. And the folks that have been on 10, 15, 20 cruises, they want to talk about that stuff like it is an award, like it's a degree from Harvard. You know, it's something that they are proud of. You can ask them about what their status is. They're going to say, I'm diamond, I'm emerald, I'm 2 points away, 1 cruise away from getting the next status level. People love to talk about that stuff, and you can love to talk about that stuff as well. These are all opening lines. And like I said, always talk to folks when you're waiting in line, and and then have no expectation of a conversation. You're not going anywhere. You're on vacation. You're chilling. So don't think you have to just get in for a quick 30-second conversation and bounce. Let the stuff roll. If you're interacting with them, they're interacting with you, and you move off the cruise stuff, you start talking about where you live and your family members, and oh, I got a friend that lives in San Francisco. You are making friends on the cruise ship, you know, so it's really easy to do. And like I said, just let the conversation flow. So what I'll go ahead and do right now at this point, I talked a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and start to wrap this up. Like I said, I had an incredible time. I'm gonna show you guys some of my adventures that I had while I was on the cruise ship. Stay tuned, guys. I will be right back here in a few seconds. All right, guys. All right, guys, here we go. We are walking on the ship as a solo passenger. Let's see how this goes. All right, just walked on the ship, headed to D24 for the mustard station. So it's on the other side over here real quick. You can kind of see a quick overview of the ship. There we go. All right, so go back here and do the safety briefing real fast. Okay, so I hit up the buffet, and I'm gonna go ahead and just try this right here real quick. Try to get some healthy options. It's still early in the cruise, don't want to go overboard yet, but you can see the beautiful port of Los Angeles. Okay, just walking in the room. I'll give you a fast tour here. So there we go. We got the bed, and we got the balcony looking out this way here. As you can see, pretty cool. We got cabinets and stuff for storage. And this is the main shower. Look, they have the right type of shower head. All the basic stuff in here.
So make sure that everything is stay okay in the safe room, alright? Make sure the keys are working to get into your room.
All right, guys, I just want to check in with you. So I didn't do anything yesterday as far as like a check-in and stuff, but my brother was just chilling. So I'm checking in with you guys about the solo cruise here and my progress. And I'll tell you, I've just been laying low, chilling. So the first day was a sell-off day, you know. I didn't really go around the ship that much. I just figured naturally I'd kind of make my way around the ship. But that evening I did the, kind of went to the sail-away party, and I found a really cool spot to go sit out in the solarium and just kind of enjoy the water as it was going by. And so if you're familiar with Los Angeles and Catalina Island, it's maybe a 30-minute tour. So we kind of just went out in the ocean, went about 2 miles an hour, and we just kind of just went around in circles, you know. And so later on that evening, we ended up, you know, still doing that same process. But what I ended up doing was I ended up going to go get something to eat. I just ate in the Windjammer Cafe, and I went ahead and went to the gym. No, actually, no, I didn't go to the gym that first day. I went to the Windjammer Cafe, and I caught a couple of the shows. They had one in, I think, the Starlight Lounge. That's where they have the ice skating at. That show was really good. Then they had the Welcome Aboard comedy show. I think I've seen this comedian on another Royal Caribbean cruise. He was really funny. He was making a lot of practical jokes about, you know, being on this cruise and some of the things that you would see, you know, and he, so I definitely would recommend that. And so yesterday, so that was the first day. Second day, which was yesterday, I kind of slept in a little bit. I didn't eat until lunch and I ate a little bit for dinner. You know, I'm still trying to stay on my intermittent fast, but I'm being a little bit flexible. I cut out, I haven't had any soda. I had just a little bit of lemonade, and you know, the other thing I did was, I didn't go to any shows last night, but I pretty much went and looked at the Future Cruise counter, went and talked to those guys there for a while, and ended up ultimately going back to the solarium. And I camped out there for about 4 hours or so, just sitting, chilling, you know, listening to people, doing some work on my laptop and stuff. So it's been really, really cool. So you're thinking, well, is it a lonely thing? You see a lot of couples around. I have interacted with so many different people. I've interacted with a lot of the staff and had, like when I was at the Future Cruise counter, I talked to the guy there for about 45 minutes about, he used to be in business before. Also talked to him about selling online and that type of stuff. You know, I've talked to a lot of different passengers. You keep seeing a lot of people over and over and over. You know, so it's not that big of a deal at all. And I'll tell you, it's a great way just to kind of lay low and chill with yourself. And you have the option to go do like a whole bunch of other stuff and interact with people. So now we just pulled up to Catalina Island. I've made it a point to go to the gym every day. So I just got back from the gym right now. I'm gonna take a shower. We just pulled up to Catalina Island. So let me show you guys out here. This is always beautiful. I didn't book anything, excuse me, specific, but I'm just gonna go out and walk around on the island and take a look. You know, Catalina is always beautiful. And what they're doing is they're doing these tenders down here that are ferrying people ashore. So you can take a look out there at the island. Absolutely beautiful. So we're kind of stationary in one spot, and the boats are coming up to take people, I think it's 50 at a time, out to the shore. And, you know, looking forward to it. So I'll let you guys, I'll check in with you, maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is Ensenada. And like I said, being on a solo cruise is really not that big of a deal. So don't let where you are in life halter you from making progress on anything. You know, so if you're solo, be solo, go have fun. If you're in a group, go have fun in a group. And I'll tell you what, I've also been, it's funny, I've been identified by some of the staff as being a solo cruiser, which is really interesting. People have said, hey, are you solo cruising? I'm like, yeah, how could you tell? So, but yeah, it's definitely very, very cool, guys. So I'm out. I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, look, I got a visitor outside. Let me show you guys here. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, guys. So this is the blowhole here in Ensenada, Mexico. Natural phenomenon. Look at that. Wow. Okay. All right, it's building. Here goes. That. Wow. Look at that. All right, guys, that's it. That is the end of the solo cruise. So I'll go ahead and wrap up my final thoughts in the lab. And so there we are. We are officially back in the LA harbor. It's kind of a overcast day with a marine layer. But I'll tell you, it was beautiful coming in for sure. I've had a blast. I've enjoyed myself. And so brother's gonna go home, and my flight leaves, I think, at 1 o'clock, and I think my exit time off the ship is like 9. So I'm going out of LAX. I have plenty of time. But one last look, you know, everything that you need is here. And, you know, got the closets. You got the, I had 3 monitors set up here. I was definitely working. Got a crash pad. You know, if you find somebody that's stranded and can't get into their room, you want to invite them to come hang out with you, you can do that. You got a nice king size bed that pulls apart. And of course, you know, got the nice outside view. So final thoughts. Hey, you can be a solo traveler, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a single traveler, you know, and you can still be a single traveler and be a solo traveler. But I'll tell you, the time I had here was epic. I've enjoyed myself. I had a chance to relax, kind of just do my thing, and just lay low and just relax. Did I say relax? And relax. So that's it, guys. I'll be back in the lab in a second. All right, guys, welcome back. I'm glad you guys enjoyed watching that video there. This is probably one of the longest videos I think probably by the time I put the videos in here and the conversation and the front end bumper, this video may be close to an hour. Oh, well, you know, they got programs on television that run an hour, but hopefully this information I provide you guys has been useful. So kind of my final thoughts here before I jump into the last segment of this video. You know, don't be afraid to do stuff by yourself. Don't be afraid to do stuff by yourself. Don't feel like you have to have people with you in order to enjoy your life. Now, I say this all the time. You're responsible for your own happiness. You're responsible for anything and everything about your life. There's some random stuff that happens, of course, but the recovery is all up to you. Now, what I do, somebody told me this. I think it was my barber Myron. He said, you know what? I'm past middle age. And so I was like, explain yourself. He said, take your age and double it. So I'm 55 years old. And if I take and double my age, 55 times 2, that's 110. He says, what are your chances of living to be 110? I'm like, very, very small. He said, exactly. So you are beyond middle age at this point. So you have to make sure you do the stuff that you want to do because you don't know how much time you have left. And I'm telling you, that's the truth. Now, if you're 22 years old and you double your age, you're 44, you will easily live to be 44, most likely. If you're 30 years old right now and you double your age and you're 60, you'll most likely be able to live to 60. Now, the gray area is like 35 to 40. If you double 40, 80. What's your chance of living to be 80? If they're low, if they're high, whatever it might be, at the point where I am right now in my life, most likely I'll live to be about 80 years old. So I've got roughly, 25 years left of my life. I need to make sure that I'm in the best health possible, that I go ahead and do stuff that I really, really want to do. So I would encourage you guys, if you want to do stuff, don't let the fact that you don't have anybody to do it with keep you from doing it. Just do the simple math on your age and figure out what the chances are of you of making it to your life if it's doubled. If it's low, get out there and do the stuff. And then, so there's things you can do leading up to the solo cruise. Go to movies by yourself. I'd probably say 95 to 98% of the movies I go see are by myself. If I want to go see something, I go see it. I let people know I go see stuff. I have people that I know that, I got a girl now back on the East Coast. Whenever we get together, and part of our planning is I talk to her about what's coming out. She loves watching movies too. So we make sure we go see movies when we're there, you know, but there's times where I'm here and the movie's out and it's going to be off by the time I get out there. I go see the movie by myself. I have no problem doing that at all. You guys shouldn't have a problem doing that either. You know, so, you know, if concerts in the park, you can easily take a lawn chair and plop it down someplace, bring yourself a sandwich, sit out there and enjoy the music. These are all things that you can do to kind of get comfortable with yourself, you know. And, you know, there are also cruise lines out there that specifically cater to solo cruisers. They're starting to make cabins that are just for one person. They're micro cabins. So look out there, look around and see what's going on. And like I said, I think the most stark thing that we can remember here in the final wrap up is take your age and double it. What are the chances of you getting to that age? If it's impossibly high and the probability is low, get out there and start doing stuff right now. That way you don't lay in the bed wherever you are going to be laying in the bed, if that's the case, and be regretful about all the things that you didn't do in your life because you didn't have anybody to do them with. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice and game I can give you for the video. So let's go ahead and jump to the final segment, guys. Let's talk about the business ideas and tax deductions that are related to this topic of being a solo cruiser. Of course, you can always be a travel agent. You can be a travel agent that specializes in just booking travel in general, but you can also have market towards solo travelers. You know, there are a lot of different places that are around the world that are solo traveler friendly. If you are able to get those kind of clients, you can provide them with booking information. You can also start a solo adventure tour company. similar to a travel agency. You know, so with the a solo adventure tour company, you can set up tours, go to the Grand Canyon, whitewater raft in the Colorado River. You can travel to Japan. You can do cruises or whatever. It's a whole series of folks that are solo travelers that have a comfort and safety net of other folks around them that are also solo travelers. They can either be single, they can be in a relationship, but they're traveling with other folks. So there's a certain amount of comfort and safety. Plus, things are kind of already built out for you, and you have a chance to provide these services to people that would definitely benefit from them. So that's always going to be a business opportunity for you as well. The other thing you can do, you can be a travel companion. I'm not talking about like an escort or something like that. It can be same sex or opposite sex. It doesn't make a difference. You can put yourself out there and be a person that will travel with other folks. Boom, there you go. That is a business opportunity. You charge a fee for the service. You can pay for your own room and your own airfare or whatever, if you have the means, or the other person can pay for it too. I don't know what that sounds like, but it's an option, definitely, for sure. So keep it safe and keep it legal, you know, for sure. You know, but that is definitely an option. And of course, all the deductions that are available to you if you decide to start business related to solo travel, you're going to have home office deduction. You're going to have cell phone, laptop you can write off. Most likely, you're going to have home internet, mileage if you're using your car. Travel, of course, you're going to be able to deduct that as well. Continuing professional education, that's always going to be deductible. Travel, meals, automobile, of course. You need to be able to get around, and if it's business related, you'll be able to deduct that, of course. And then adventure equipment. So if you start an adventure travel company, if you're buying kayaks and other types of things for your clients, those things will all be able to be ran through the business. You can net those against your income, of course. And if you have a loss, it's going to go ahead and reduce your W-2 income. You will pay less taxes overall. So get at me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, have you guys ever gone on a solo cruise before? Are you thinking about it? What was your experience? Did you enjoy it? Are you scared to do it? Are you terrified? Is there anything in this video that I left out? Let me know, folks, in the comments. I really appreciate it. Like I said, like and subscribe. And I think that's it. Oh, I always do this thing here. Let me think about it, make sure this is really it. Let me take a sip of the water. This is lemon water. I'll tell you what, I've been doing these crazy bike rides. I used to drink Gatorade all the time before. I stopped because of a lot of the sugar. There's other versions of Gatorade that don't have the sugar in it. But I was looking online. They say one of the things you can do to get your electrolytes is eat watermelon, or you can also drink water with a lot of lemons. Lemons provide a lot of the electrolytes. So always talk to a doctor. Like I said, this is not medical advice. This is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. But this is what I've got here in my bottle. And I'll tell you what, my body will let me know if I'm not getting electrolytes, because I will get severe cramps at night. And since I started drinking this lemon water, the cramps go away. They don't even show up at all. So that's it, guys. I'm Audi 5000, sideways to the next light. Let me know. Take care. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace. Oh my goodness, I cracked my... Bye guys. I will see you later. Oh, I gotta end the video. Peace. See you. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end of this video. Visit me directly at andrereese.biz. 4 things to do: like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell. Stay safe, guys. Lit the glass of freedom. Stay woke and don't get TikTok. Take care. I will see you guys in the next video.
Bye.